First time in his career, Kevin Durant, cornerstone of that Thunder franchise, will miss an extended period of time due to injury.
The league is in a panic about the Thunder owning the Clippers picks these next couple of years.
The NBA was supposed to be entering a new age of balance, a league where every team had a fair shot at glory. But instead, a mix of luck, chaos, and pure genius built something no one saw coming. Back in April 2023, the NBA dropped a bombshell with the rollout of the second apron luxury tax. This new rule slapped heavy penalties on any team daring to hold their star lineup together. It was supposed to balance things out. On paper, it sounded smart, like the league's way of giving every team a fair shot at the crown by spreading talent across the map. But reality hit way different. Thanks to a messy mix of front office mistakes, wild trades, and pure bad luck for certain franchises, this new era didn't just shake the league, it might have built a monster.
We're focused on, honestly, just us getting better as individuals and as a group. Through every game, through every experience.
Somehow, out of all that chaos, one team ended up in a position so strong, it's got people saying they might be the best situated squad in NBA history. How did things spiral this far? Let's break down exactly how we got here and what turned the league upside down. Not too long ago, in 2024, the Mavericks took down the Thunder in the playoffs, only to fall short against the Celtics in the finals. At that moment, everyone across the NBA was hyped. This was supposed to be peak balance. Every team had its own rising superstar, different play styles, and tight supporting squads ready to shake up the standings. It felt locked in. The Mavericks and Thunder were set to battle for Western Conference glory for years, while the Celtics held the East like true kings. But then, disaster hit hard. A year later, Jason Tatum went down with a brutal torn Achilles. The Celtics front office suddenly faced a nightmare decision. They knew with Tatum out, their title dreams were on ice. And with that second apron tax hovering over them like a storm cloud, they had no choice but to blow it up. They dumped Drew Holiday and Chris Porzingis in near fire sale trades just to dodge the crushing tax penalties. And the bad luck didn't stop there. The Indiana Pacers, another squad on the rise, watched their own stars go down with the same cruel injury. Then came what might go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history, made by Nico Harrison and the Mavericks. That single move sent shockwaves through the league, combining bad timing, injuries, and flat-out poor judgment. All that chaos left the league wide open, a massive power vacuum just waiting to be claimed. And out of that mess, one team stood tall and unstoppable, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who suddenly looked like the most dominant force basketball has seen in years. But that's just half the story. The real turning point came from one of the wildest deals in recent NBA history, the infamous Paul George trade back in 2019. Everyone knows that deal looked solid for OKC, but what came after? It turned out to be a gold mine way better than anyone expected. When that trade went down, the Thunder completely tore everything apart. They sent out Paul George and even Russell Westbrook, basically pressing the reset button on their whole franchise. In return, the best player they got back was none other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And let's be real, nobody at that time thought he'd grow into one of the top players in the entire league. But here's the crazy part. It wasn't just Shai that made this deal legendary. It was the ridiculous mountain of draft picks OKC got in return. At first, they looked like throwaway assets, just situational picks. But almost every single one ended up working perfectly in OKC's favor.
This is what I've seen you do last year, and I've seen it this year. And I want to know if this is an adjustment by you or this adjustment by Coach Dagenau. I notice a lot of times when you're playing out of pick and roll, sometimes they run two at the ball, whether it's a big or a guard. I've noticed that you start taking the ball to a sideline and attacking the matchup one-on-one instead of bringing the pick to you. Is that something that you're doing on your own? Is that an adjustment by Coach Dagenau? Because when they put two to the ball, you have to get off it. But once you get to that sideline and there's no screen coming, you can attack, you can get downhill, you can make plays, you can get to your spots.
Chill out. You're giving out the scout.
Oh, damn, my bad. I'm a basketball head and I love the adjustments.
Yeah, the open side actions and pick and rolls and those type of things, they eliminate two-sided help. So I know, like, behind me, there's nobody there. So, like, I can freely come off and shoot a jumper. I can freely come off and reject and go based on if I want to. And I just get that whole side. But that's something that, coaches implemented over the last couple of years as we've seen so many different coverages throughout us growing as a group. But yeah, coach does a great job of trying to make the game easier for not only myself, but the rest of the guys in the group out there.
Some of those early picks turned into major cornerstones like Jalen Williams, who's now a key part of their success. And the real treasure is in the future. In 2026, OKC holds 3 first-round picks, one of their own, one from Utah, and an unprotected one from the struggling Clippers. With how bad LA has been lately, that Clippers pick could be a gem. Then in 2027, it gets even wilder. Another 3 first-rounders. The Spurs and Nuggets picks are protected, but not fully, meaning OKC could still snatch them up. And the cherry on top, that spicy pick swap with the Clippers. If the Clippers keep falling apart like they are now, that swap could easily land OKC a top 5 pick. Picture this. Your team is on track to win over 70 games, already building a dynasty, and you still walk into the draft with a top 5 pick in your pocket. That's not just rare, it's almost unreal. Well, almost. Something like this did happen once before, way back in 1986, but nothing in the modern NBA even comes close to what OKC is about to pull off. Back in 1986, the Boston Celtics pulled off an incredible feat. They won 67 games, snatched the championship, and then somehow got blessed with the 2nd overall pick in the NBA draft, landing Len Bias. But tragedy struck fast. With his heartbreaking death, the Celtics never got the benefit from that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Still, comparing those Celtics to today's Oklahoma City Thunder doesn't even make sense. By '86, Boston Stars were already deep into their primes or starting to slow down, while OKC's core is just getting started. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. The Thunder still hold 4 more first-round picks between 2028 and 2030. It's unreal. Honestly, the rest of the league, especially the Los Angeles Clippers, have only themselves to blame for handing OKC this kind of power. The whole idea behind the second apron luxury tax was to stop teams from stacking superstars, right? Adam Silver wanted a balanced NBA, where even smaller market teams could compete on fair ground. But somehow, that plan backfired in the most spectacular way possible. Heading into the 2025-26 season, the Thunder sit just 17th in team payroll, barely middle of the pack.
It's one of those things you just you figure out as your career goes on. Every night I'm at the top of the scouting report, and the team is trying to take me as the top of the scouting report away. So if I am too aggressive, they're ready for me to be aggressive.
Yet in a few years, when all their role players start asking for big paydays, things could get complicated. Owner Clay Bennett isn't known for throwing around money, and he's definitely not looking to get crushed by that second apron tax. So in theory, OKC should lose some of their key pieces down the line. Guys chasing bigger contracts elsewhere, maybe even the rival teams. That's exactly what Silver envisioned. Dynasties forced to break apart. But the Thunder, they're breaking the mold completely. This squad is built differently. Literally, they opened the season with an insane 18-1 record without their second best player. That kind of depth is unheard of. Their offense runs smooth and dynamic with waves of two-way players ready to step in and shine whenever needed. No matter who goes down, they just keep winning. It's like a machine that never stops. And then when you add all those upcoming draft picks into the mix, it becomes straight up unfair. No other team can realistically compete with the kind of firepower OKC has locked in for years to come. And the man behind this empire? None other than Sam Presti. Presti is the secret weapon, the calm genius calling every shot. Unlike most GMs, he's not out here throwing max contracts just because a player's hot for a season. He's strategic, patient, and always a few steps ahead. Look at what happened in Denver with Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. They both got massive extensions because they were homegrown and improving. But if Prey ran the Nuggets, it's doubtful he'd have made those same calls. This man even hesitated back in the day to pay James Harden. And that caution has defined his entire career. And recently, he made another shocking move, trading away Josh Giddey, who's now a full-blown star in Chicago, for Alex Caruso. Most GMs would have never pulled that trigger, but Prey did it because Caruso fits OKC's identity perfectly. It's not about names, it's about fit, system, and chemistry. Of course, every dynasty faces doubters. We've seen this before. Remember about 15 years ago when OKC's young trio of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden reached the finals at just 22 and 23 years old? Everyone swore they were the next great dynasty. But that team was built differently. It ran purely on raw talent. That coach's strategy was basically get a ball to the stars and let them go to work. It was exciting, sure, but risky too. There was no real system, no long-term stability. And when one guy got hurt, the whole thing crumbled. This time, though, it's a whole new story. The modern Thunder have structure, depth, and a strategy that runs deep. They've learned from their past mistakes. And under Sam Prey's watch, this team isn't just chasing wins. They're building something that could define an entire era of basketball.
Playmaking-wise, I could have been better last year. Shot selection-wise, I could have been better. And then just like manipulating the game offensively and like having more control over what the defense does with me as opposed to like just reading and reacting of what their scout is. Those are the few things that I've kind of honed in on this summer and tried to really like implement on a nightly basis.
The new Oklahoma City Thunder don't face the same issues that doomed their old era. And the proof is right there. Jalen Williams missed a huge chunk of the season, yet OKC still posted the highest net rating in NBA history. That's insane. Remember, this dude made all NBA third team and all defensive second team. If most squads lost a player like that, they'd collapse instantly. But with the Thunder, you could barely even tell he was gone. Head coach Mark Daniel once faced a ton of doubt for being so young and unproven, but he shut everyone up. He's built a rock-solid system where every player knows their role and executes it perfectly. His roster attacks defenses non-stop, constant pressure, constant movement, and endless ball handling threats no matter who's on the floor. Pair that with Sam Presti's sharp eye for talent, and you got one of the most lethal coach-GM duos the league has seen since the Warriors dynasty. Together, they've created something special. They've already captured 68 wins in a championship, and somehow they just keep leveling up. With one of the youngest title rosters ever, their hunger to improve and keep winning is unmatched. So now the big question, who can actually catch up to them? Just a year or two ago, people thought Boston would own the East, while the West turned into a brutal dogfight. But then, fate flipped the script. The Celtics got hit hard by Tatum's devastating injury, forcing them to pause their reign right when they were peaking. They were already deep into their competitive window, locked into huge contracts and expensive veterans. It made holding their team together nearly impossible. Ironically, they were supposed to be the OKC of the East, a model of balance, smarts, and depth. But timing and injuries tore that dream apart. So honestly, the only realistic way for anyone to catch the Thunder might be pure bad luck on OKC's part. But let's talk real competition. The Los Angeles Lakers have been climbing fast, led by Austin Reeves, who stepped up from solid sidekick to borderline superstar. The Houston Rockets are finally starting to gel. The Denver Nuggets made some smart trades for once, and even the San Antonio Spurs are waking up. The Western Conference is stacked with talent right now, but no matter how strong the field looks, OKC still stands tall as the team to beat. Of course, even the mightiest teams have cracks in the armor. The Thunder's depth is elite, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the engine that makes everything run. Sure, people talk about the great teammates around him, but it's his presence that bends defenses. The moment he steps on the floor, the entire defense shifts. His gravity is unreal. Even when he's just standing still, defenders panic because of his ability to strike from anywhere. People love to throw around the term three-level scorer, but Shai is the definition of it. He's deadly from the rim, the mid-range, and the three-point line, all with ridiculous efficiency. His jumper, once his weakest link, has become a serious weapon, and he's averaging a career-high 32.8 points per game. Some critics say he's not the most complete superstar. Maybe he doesn't rebound or pass like others, but that doesn't even matter. The Thunder system is built perfectly around him, covering every tiny gap in his game so he can do what he does best, get buckets. Still, there's one way teams can exploit OKC, when Shai's supporting cast goes cold. We've seen glimpses of it before in the playoffs, even though this version of the Thunder is far more mature and battle-tested. There may come a day when the role players are too experienced, too sharp, and too confident to ever be shut down again. When that day comes, when every piece clicks at once, this team won't just be great, they'll be unstoppable. What started as a rebuild has turned into a full-blown revolution. The Oklahoma City Thunder didn't just survive the chaos, they mastered it. With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the charge, Sam Presti pulling every string, and a system that never stops evolving, this squad might be shaping the next great NBA dynasty. If they stay healthy and keep that fire burning, we could be witnessing history in real time. The question isn't if they'll dominate, it's how long the league can keep up. So what do you think? Are the Thunder really the next great dynasty, or just riding the wave for now? I'd love to hear your take, so drop a comment below. I'm truly thankful for your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Ball Stories for more wild NBA stories. And if you're still in the zone, check out the next video waiting for you. Catch you in the next one. Peace.